لا نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good Sahur time to all of you, and welcome to another episode of our talk in this holy month of Ramadan, in this time of excellence, the time of Sahur. Today our talk is going to be on the concept of modesty in Islam. Modesty is one of the excellent values of Islam, which has been described by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as one of the types, one of the elements of Iman. Iman has got a number of elements. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Iman is 70 and above branches. The biggest, the highest branch is declaration of the unity of Allah, witnessing that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah, and that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam Muhammad is his slave and messenger. And the least of the branches of modesty is removing a harmful item from the rod. And he says, Al-Haya, modesty, is a branch of faith, is a branch of Iman. So which means the practice of modesty is regarded as a value that is a branch of the whole tree that embodies true belief, true faith, which is called Iman. The meaning of modesty is that you do not accept to do what is bad because it taints you. It is abhorrent, and it is not acceptable. So you respect yourself in doing what is good and avoiding what is bad out of modesty, because you feel it is inappropriate for you to do modesty, to do that evil act. The highest type of modesty is to have modesty with regards to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, even though you don't see him. Out of modesty, you do not do what Allah does not like, because you feel, how can you do something like that when Allah is looking at you? It is just like to say that you will engage in an evil act in front of all and sundry, like to go out and start moving about naked and people are looking at you. A normal human being will not do that. In fact, doing that is a symbol of loss of intellect. So in the same vein, modesty is what prevents you from doing what is not good. If your modesty with regards to your fellow human beings is out of modesty, you don't engage in evil character. You don't engage in evil character. You don't start raining abuses and saying foul words that are inappropriate. That is an act of saying those words in an act of immodesty. This is with regards to people. You also do not engage in an act that shows that you are not conscious of your position in the sight of others. For instance, you engage in fighting in the streets with people. People are in a queue. Everybody is there waiting for his turn, and you just come and shunt and stay ahead of them, and you are insensitive to the looks of people. That is immodest. That is lack of modesty. You are also so under Islam, you are supposed to observe this modesty. You are supposed to be modest as an act of worship. You regard that as an act of worship. You do it with regards to people. You are conscious of people. You should be conscious of the angels. You should be conscious, or above and everything else, you should be conscious of God. This is what makes modesty in Islam the most perfect, because it has got these three levels. So you do not avoid bad things and and avoid doing inappropriate things and saying inappropriate words. In fact, out of modesty, you do not do things in your mind that you know Allah is looking at you and He does not approve of them, like putting in your mind rancor and hatred and envy and bad motive, bad intention, and bad thoughts regarding people. Because Allah sees what you are saying, Allah sees what is in your heart, just as He sees what you are doing. If people do not see what you conceal in your heart, Allah sees it. So the degree of modesty which you observe between you and Allah is what will make you refrain from having those evil things in your mind. Now, when you are modest, you are actually holding fast to the principle of Iman. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at one time, he met somebody who was advising his brother and exhorting him to stop being modest in what he's doing. That is, he has to come out and do things forcefully and be insensitive to what other people are going to say. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told this man who was exhorting his brother to stop being modest, he said, leave him, because modesty is part of faith. Modesty is part of faith. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been described as the most modest of persons. Out of his modesty, if he doesn't like something, he doesn't face somebody and tell him, I don't like you doing this to me. But you will see it from his face that he doesn't like it. It is out of modesty. Out of modesty, he doesn't confront somebody with what he does not like. But he tolerates, and it appears in his face. So the act of modesty is regarded, therefore, as an act of good character. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he said, he was sent to perfect good manners. He was sent to perfect good character. It is because of the lack of it in a society is what destroys values. Lack of modesty destroys values. People will not mind to be profane in their language. They say evil words. Now we can see, the way children, because of their being attached to the social media that does not observe the principles of modesty, you see the kind of words they are saying, the kind of words they are saying to their parents, the kind of words that they are saying to their peers in school. Sometimes teachers have to pay have to pay good attention, and also parents have to pay good attention, because children, they learn this immodest character and immodest speech either from school, or sometimes they get it from home and bring it to the school. So both teachers and parents, they have to be very observant. Children have got to be taught to be modest, to avoid offensive language, to avoid profanity in what they are saying, and also to be conscious of the people around them and not to be insensitive, because because modesty is what leads to you being sensitive to other people, you being sensitive to your role in society, and the lack of it is what had led us to have serious fault lines in our society, among several strata of society. Because if modesty was properly imbibed in us, we will hold the trust of office, we will hold the responsibilities that are placed upon us, and we will avoid doing things that people will look at us and say, so and so. How come you did this kind of thing? Now, this is the kind of thing that you should avoid. There are people who, for them to hear this kind of censure, to say, how come you are doing this? It is better that their life had been taken before such a thing could have occurred. Now, that is what modesty breeds, and that is what we need in our society in order to have the other values. And as we saw in our religion of Islam, It is part of Iman. It is a branch of faith. And may Allah give us this value of modesty and give us other values of good character. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam wa sallallahu wa sallama wa baraka ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.